Hey guys, it's Rasmus Lindgren and welcome to this training on advanced membership sites. First off, this is an advanced course, so there are a few prerequisites when doing this. But first off, let me start out telling you a little bit about myself. I've been almost 14 years in the IT industry and as working as an IT consultant. And for the last couple of years, since 2007, I've been working, through my own company. I've also spent 4 years with the number one e-learning company here in Denmark, and while that not might mean too much to you, that is because I'm also going to discuss how we as adults learn and how you can use that theory in your membership sites. Also, I'm an experienced speaker and workshop organizer. I enjoy coming out and motivating and inspiring people. And on the side, I also run a couple of membership sites. I have my own lifestyle business mastermind. That is my product where I help people building lifestyle businesses so they can travel and get more freedom. You'll have to check that out. I also have a life outsourcing mastery. That is how you outsource your life and your business, and how you begin by leveraging people in the Philippines or in India or on the other side of the globe, costing just a few dollars an hour. And then I've just relaunched the SAP Project Training Program. That is an online course for SAP project managers, and SAP is just a big enterprise IT system. I won't bore you with the details. So that's a little bit about myself, just a quick overview. But as I mentioned, there are a few prerequisites in this training here, and basically you should already have a membership site, because if you don't have a membership site already, this training is not the place I want to start if I were you. You need to get a membership site up and running. You need to make a few sales, get a few members in there, because it's all about the 80-20 rule here. If you do all the things that I try to teach you here, you'll never get done, right? So it's just nice if you already have a membership site. If not, don't. You just shouldn't really watch this video here. Also, you should be somewhat comfortable with technology, or at least have a webmaster who is, because some of the things are advanced, and I don't expect you to be able to do this if you are, if you have no technology experience, at least some of the strategies here. So that is just, a good thing to know here. Or you can, of course, outsource some of this. You can just, shoot me a link to the video and say, I want this. And you, of course, want to improve your membership site. Now, I will go through different strategies here, and please notice that I'm using some of these strategies on some sites and other strategies on other sites. I don't think I have, one membership site where I'm using all the strategies I'm going to present you with here. So it's basically a toolbox that you can take and you can use, and you can pick out the strategies that you want to try out for your membership site. So in this training, what will we cover? Well, first off, we'll have some technology strategies, and this is where it's a good idea if you actually know a little bit of technology or have a webmaster who can help you out with this. Then we're going into some content and learning strategies. This is basically where I'll cover some strategies and theories on how we as adults learn. And then I'm going to end the show with some business strategies on retention and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to go through. So let's just jump out into this. The first module, technology strategies. This is where we're going to tweak your membership site installation. Now, I do make some assumption about your membership site, and I'm making the assumption, while most of these strategies can be used without it, I'm thinking about, or I'm making the assumption that you're probably using WordPress as your for a membership site. Personally, I'm using WordPress together with Wishlist Member, the Wishlist Member membership plugin, for all my membership sites, but you might be doing something differently. But just notice that if I make some kind of assumption and do something, say something about WordPress, that is just because that's what I'm using. But most of these strategies I think you should be able to do with any system out there. First off, I'm going to discuss transactional emails. But what are transactional emails? Transactional emails are all the emails that are not in your autoresponder, but instead, the emails going out of your membership site. Stuff like you now created, here's your username and password. Or if they forgot their password, an email goes out, so they can reset their password. Some membership sites even send out more plugins, but this could also be used if you're running webinars, for instance. And the issue here with webinars is that we want to ensure the deliverability of the transactional emails, because the problem is that normally it's your server sending out these emails. And when the server sends out this email, it comes from the server's IP address. That's their address on the internet. And most likely you're in a hosted environment with thousands or perhaps at least hundreds of other websites out there. And if just one of the other websites are being flagged as a spammer, that influences the IP address and influences your website. Meaning that if just one out of the other hundreds and sometimes thousands of websites on the same server as yours get marked as a spammer, your transactional emails, like you are now created, will end up in your members' spam box, most likely. So this is why we want to secure the deliverability of transactional emails. We want to make sure that even though other sites on the same server are marked as spam, your emails get through to your members' inbox. And the trick to do here is use an external SMTP server. An SMTP server is just the server type that is sending out emails. I won't go into all the acronyms here, but just know that you need an external SMTP server. And it's actually quite easy to set up in WordPress. It's only a few clicks. You can probably do this in 10 to 15 minutes yourself. I'm using the WordPress plugin WP Mail SMTP, and what that does is that it makes sure that all emails sent from WordPress, all emails going out, also forgot passwords and all stuff like that. This is not targeted wishlist member. This is all emails being sent from WordPress that you can reroute what server it's using for sending it. So instead of using it just the server, the web server it lies on, you can enter an external SMTP server, and that's what we want to do. And I am using something called Mandrill app, and that is the guys from MailChimp who has done this SMTP service. And I'm using, there are other services, there's also a service called smtp.com, and there are other services out there. The reason why I love Mandrill app is because it's free. You can use it up to, I think it's 20,000 emails a month, and of course if you get more than 20,000 emails a month, they have payment plans. But you can start out with this simply by registering for an account on Mandrill app and setting up this WordPress Mail SMTP plugin on your WordPress installation. And once you have that, and you need to, of course, tie the two things together, and there is a little bit of authentication you need to do over Mandrill app in order to tell them and prove to them that you own the domain that you want to send from. But if you can do this in like 15 to 20 minutes, you can probably find a webmaster who can on Edenso or Odesk. So this is a really good tip to ensure deliverability of your transactional emails. Next up is video delivery. Now, chances are that you have a membership site where you are using some kind of video, and there's really only that's not one thing here, I'm jumping to conclusions here, but the problem that we're facing is that we have big files, and I'm not sure about your membership site, but my membership site has members all the way from the US to Australia to Asia and so on, and video files are pretty big files, so we need something that can distribute these big files quickly, and web servers are really not up to the task. I'm pretty sure you know this. If you already have video, you're probably doing something other than just uploading the videos to your web server. But just remember that the issue here is that we have big files and we have multiple locations all over the world. I'm using Amazon S3, and you've probably heard about this. Amazon Web Services. Go to aws.amazon.com. and you can find S3. They have multiple services, and a bit geeky this is, but it's quite easy to register for an account. You need first an Amazon account, and then you need to register for the service Amazon S3. And S3 simple just stands for simple storage service or something like that. But something with simple storage, I can't remember what the last S is for. And that is basically you can upload any file to their account, and you're paying a little bit for storage, but not much. You can basically upload terabytes of video and still get a small small bill. What you are paying for is traffic to that video. So if none of your members are actually watching the video, you're not getting billed from Amazon. So that's and still it's really cheap. I mean, really cheap. It will most likely be much cheaper than your hosting account unless you have thousands of members watching your videos. But you can go one step further. You can put what is called Amazon CloudFront in front of it. Just like S3, CloudFront is an Amazon service, and what this does is that it distributes your videos out to, sorry for that, they're a bit noisy in Thailand. They distribute your videos out to local servers in each country, and this is what is called Content Delivery Network. A Content Delivery Network does this. It distributes the files out to be so the files are closer to your visitors or your members. You can also do this for your own website if you want to do that. And that makes it really quick to start the videos if you're using CloudFront in front of Amazon. This costs a bit more, but it's really easy to enable your Amazon S3 files with CloudFront. Again, this is just something you sign up for in Amazon Web Services, and there you go. Then you can distribute, and this will all be taken care of. Amazon will automatically distribute it out to be close to your visitors or your members. So I'm using CloudFront as well on some of my website, but mainly I'm using at least Amazon S3. Then you of course have different streaming when you're streaming multiple sizes out. That's really a problem, because normally I only have 1 or 2 formats on my Amazon S3 account. I have one video, but what if you're streaming out video for a mobile device? You might want a smaller video. If someone have a really poor internet connection, you might want to be able to reduce the size of the video. And this is pretty much where streaming services like YouTube comes in, because they can actually adjust the quality of the video to the recipient, to the viewer of that video. And that you don't get with the Amazon S3 and CloudFront. Now, Amazon does have a streaming service as well that can do some of this, but I haven't played with that. So that is, I would say, even more advanced. So if you want this, if you are delivering content to people in countries with really poor internet connection, I would probably say you should probably scrap Amazon S3 and CloudFront and perhaps go with YouTube, or perhaps even Vimeo or some of the other services. You're not able to protect your videos as well as you can, but most of the time protecting your content is really, if someone is clever enough, they can always get access to it anyway. So I tend not to protect my content too much. But just know that if you're doing this and you have someone with poor internet connection, you might want to consider to simply upload your videos to YouTube and just mark them private, so people can find them in the search engine. And yeah, I just touched on the file security. I'm actually doing this on some of my sites, but recently I've moved away from this because it's too much of a hassle and sometimes it fails. But you can control security on Amazon through expiring URLs. That means you can put in a URL to your video, and that video will only be available for watching in the next hour or so. So that makes sense if you go and you visit a membership site and you watch the video and then you navigate on, right? And next time they go into the membership site again, then can watch the video for another hour or so. Of course, it changes with each page refresh, so it's not a problem for your member. But what they cannot do is that they cannot view the source code and then go into the source code of your page and grab that video URL and then pass it on to all his or her friends. So that's what it's doing, because that URL he or she gets, it's really only valid for 1 hour. So by the time his friends needs to watch the video, it's already expired. So that is something you can do with file security through Amazon. Yeah, I briefly touched with it on when I mentioned CloudFront, because CloudFront is really a content delivery network, and I want to go even further here by mentioning CloudFront, or sorry, content distribution networks that CloudFront is a service of, and discuss that and asset service, because what you can do for your videos, you can do for your website assets. So if you say you are probably having a lot of graphic images, you're probably having JavaScript files as part of your website, you're probably having style sheets as part of your website. Because let's face it, with a membership site, it's really hard to use caching. Caching, you know where you save the website as it's been generated, and then just present a cached version of that website. And the problem is, if you're having members, you cannot cache one version of the website, because people need to be able to see their own name, and you need to tailor content for whoever who's logged in. So what you can do to speed up the actual website is to use asset servers or content delivery networks. Basically, asset servers is mainly implemented through content delivery networks. So let's see how that happens. What we want is to use, you want to optimize your performance, and as I said, we cannot use caching on our membership sites. So what we want to do is we want to distribute requests to multiple domains. I thought I had an example there, but it's just as like. And we can do that because the problem is that a browser can only make a couple of requests to each domain. So what we can do is we can set up different asset servers, saying a domain name like assets1, retireMyAss.com, assets2, retireMyAss.com, set up multiple domains, and then serve the static files. And all the static files are images, style sheets, and JavaScripts typically. And again, we can use Amazon and CloudFront, and I'm typically recommending this, but there are other services out there as well. I use the WordPress plugin W3 Total Cache because this makes it super easy to set up these kinds of content delivery networks. And again, I'm mentioning this because it's really hard. It's really easy to just set up a caching plugin, but you cannot really use normal page caching on your website. So what you can do instead is you can use these content delivery networks instead. So you can set up normally just you have my domain and a user visits that, but what we can do is actually redirect requests to assets1, my domain, assets2, assets3, and leverage that the browser can use multiple requests to each domain, and then we can distribute this using Amazon CloudFront. You can actually set up CloudFront like this, so it will use these custom domains here. If you're using CloudFront out of the box, you will just get one custom domain, something key.cloudfront.net, I think it is. But you can actually set it up like this that I have here with multiple asset servers. So if nothing else, I would probably stick a content delivery network in front of it, and you can go even further with the multiple asset server strategy that I have here. So in the end, I just want to mention forum components. If you want an online community on your website, because I've gone through a lot of them. So it's not kind of an advanced strategy because you probably have some kind of community on there, but I just wanted to mention them, a few of them. I've used Mingle Forum, and I've used SimplePress, and I've used bbPress. And I'm actually still using SimplePress in one of the websites, but I have now really just reverted to using bbPress for everything. It's super easy because a lot of the other forums on there, also so vanilla forums and so on. I mean, you can set up every imaginable setting, but most of the time you don't want that. You just want to make sure that it's protected, so the general public cannot access the it can access the forum, but you need to be a member of the website, and you can secure. I use Wishlist Member to secure the bbPress forum without any problems. And then you perhaps want to use stickies, or you may want to have a closed forum where you can post news where the members cannot post, and all of that can bbPress do. But the good thing about using bbPress is that it integrates so easily into your current theme. That is really what I like about it. It integrates so well into your existing theme, and most of the other SimplePress does a little bit, but I have to tweak it a lot to get it to play well with my theme. Most of the other forums out there and standalone forum components, you need to change the banner and you need to change the navigation to go back to your membership site. And basically, you are branding yourself with two different sites, right? Your membership site with all the training, and then your forum with all the discussion, and it doesn't integrate. I like, the whole branded solution to be one big package. But I mean, you can do the other thing. I just like the branding thing of it. So the other was just some big tips on forum components. So, I hope you just take a few minutes to get some coffee and just pause the video, and then we'll move on to the content strategies. And this is where I'm leveraging, that I've been in the e-learning industry, and also that I've been a trainer of workshops where I also use this theory of how you can how adults learn and how we can maximize the content so people will actually get the message and take it in. The first thing I will discuss with you is Kolb's learning cycle. And Kolb's, I can't even remember the guy's first name, sorry about that, but it presents different. Well, first off, there are different models for adult learning. Kolb's is just one of them, and I like it because of its simplicity, and also because that's the method I've been taught, but there are other theories out there. Kolb's just one of them, and it's using what is called learning styles or learning cycles, and that is that each of us are learning in a different way, and I'll get into those different ways in just a moment. But just know that the way that I am learning stuff and taking stuff in might not be the same way that you are learning stuff and taking stuff in. So that is what Kolb's learning cycle tries to cover. And basically, what you can't do here is you will maximize your content's potential. So you might have written, the best ebook in the world, but if only 10% of your readers would actually, check in the content, then you're not maximizing your potential. So by using Kolb's learning cycle or using, adult learning theory, you will maximize not only the potential of a content, but also maximize the success rate of your member. So what is Kolb's learning styles or cycle? Well, first, there are different profiles. He splits up these learners or adults into 4 different types of people. First, there are the activists. That's the first learning style. And they want constant exposure to new experiences. They like to experience and play with them. Then we have, the reflectors. And reflectors, they would like to, ponder on an experience and kind of assimilate the information over that. And then we have the theorists. They they observe what they're learning, and then they try to put it into logical sound theories for themselves. And then there's the pragmatists, and they require some clear practical value. How can I use this? What is my takeaway on this? So activists, if we just try to sum up, activists like to play with stuff, and do things through exercises. Reflectors, they need to sit and think about, what did I learn here? What is it I got from this? So this is someone who benefits from reflecting after the actual content has been delivered. And then the theorists, who likes to put up theories for what it is they are learning, and then the pragmatists, who needs to see, how can I apply this in real life? How can I go out and directly use this? So if we take the learning cycle, this was the styles we were after here. We can start out with a concrete experience, right? We can tell a story. Starting, any module with a story is a great idea, a great way. Then we can go over to some reflective observation on what did we learn about in this story. What were the learning points we did here? And then we can try to use some kind of abstract conceptualization. We can try to put up a model for what it is we just learned. And then after that, we can go out and we can experiment with that model that we put up, right? So first, tell the story. Then reflect over what did we just learn from the story. Then put up a sort of model on how can we model this that happened in this story so we can use it, and then we can go out and we can do some active experiments, and then we can start the cycle all over again. So this is the coach learning cycle here that cater for the different learning styles. So this means that when we're structuring our content for our membership site, oh, sorry, I'll get back to the COPs, but I'll just briefly discuss this. We need to, when we structure the content of our website, we need to look at, do we want flat or deep hierarchies? And what do I mean about flat and deep hierarchies? Well, first off, flat. Flat is if you have, all your videos just lined out in one big line, like a line of pearls, right? You have video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, and that's it. And you go from the beginning to the end, right? Just a flat hierarchy. Then you have deep hierarchies. That can be, you have 5 different models. You have 5 different modules, and each module have, let's say, 5 different lessons. And each lesson has, like, a video, a PDF worksheet, or perhaps even 3 videos and downloadable and some exercises, right? And that represents a deep hierarchy. And I'm not saying that one thing is better than another. It really depends on how much content you have. The more content you have, I think the deeper the hierarchy you will have. But just know that you don't want a lot of clicks before the user starts getting value. So if you have deep hierarchies, make it easy to do a quick start, make it easy to quickly come down to that. I actually have one membership site where I have a really deep hierarchy because there's a lot of content there, and it actually takes some maneuvering for the members' part to actually get down to the actual content, which is not that good. So we're playing with how we can, shorten that way down into the content. And then, of course, deep hierarchies tend to have more of a higher perceived value, right? Because let's face it, if you got into this website and you just had like video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5, right? And you just paid, $500 for that course. It might seem a little bit little to just get 5 videos in there. So if you're structuring it into modules or lessons and try to make the hierarchy a bit deeper, then you can have a higher perceived value and perhaps just lower your refund rate. But you also need to balance that with the ease of use, how easy it is to get started with your content, right? So content structuring. Let's take a look at how we could structure your next kick-ass training program, right? In this we have a couple of modules, module 1, 2, and a couple of more. I'll just call that module N, so just to illustrate that we can have more modules, right? And each module will have some lessons. And you can watch this as, the main training is separate from the forum and the bonuses. So I typically have one, menu item called training, and then I have some bonuses and some community or forum or whatever. So that is in the main part of the training. So and the module should contain enough material for, let's say, a week. Typically, I send out a module a week. I drip out my content. I'll get back to that, why I do that later on. But I typically like to drip out one module in each week and have enough training in there so they can cover the week, and they can do the exercises and so on. And I typically keep, one video or one learning component per page. So in my situation, I have, one lesson is one video. So that makes it nice. It's a bit more clicking around, but my membership sites look really big and rich. There's a lot of pages to create, but I really like it that way. So you can go to the, the module front page for that week, and you can get all the videos you need to go through, and you click on one, you get to the video that has its own page with all the downloads below that. So if you take a look at this way here, I typically want you to think COPE a learning cycle in each module. So in each module you will have one loop of the COPE circle, but you can also, if you want to, use COPE circle inside just one video. So if you just make one video, you can actually try to do a full COPE circle by going through the 4 different stages in there. But I'm typically trying to think, COPE in one module, but it's all up to you how you do that. So you can do that, or you can even go, as I said, further and think COPE into each lesson. So what content types can you have in here? And I'm going to tie this together nicely with Cope in just 1 minute here. So typically you can have just, your plain information. You can have, structured video, audio, text. I like using video because it has a higher perceived value, but it's also much more work to do video. I normally, do either screencasts like this here or webinars, or I do actually, direct to camera where I'm on with a mic, and I actually have lights in my video studio. I haven't brought video lights with me here in Thailand, so that's a bit harder to do. But you can also do, audio or just plain text. Then you can use more advanced stuff, like you can do tests, quizzes, questionnaires, right? Get people to interact a little bit. You can also have downloadable workbooks, so people can actually print them out, or even you can even do, take form components like, contact form 7 and have people fill out answers directly on your website. But you can also just do a Word document or whatever you're using, create a PDF and make it downloadable and have them print it out and fill it out as they go along. And you can also even do exercises and competitions. And the reason why I am suggesting these things here is because it ties perfectly into Cope. So theorists, they like the structured video, the audio, and the text. They like the content to absorb it in. The reflectors, they like to take tests on what it is they just learned. They actually have quizzes and questionnaires. The pragmatists, they love the downloadable workbooks that they can sit and experiment with their own and, and play with it, what they just learned, and do something with it. And, the activists, they like the competitions and the exercises that they can do and use it that way as well. Use what they've learned that way as well. So if you incorporate, structured information, and you incorporate tests, quizzes, or questionnaires, and if you incorporate downloadable workbooks, and if you incorporate exercises and competitions, then you are catering for all the different styles in the Cope learning cycle. So this is a way where you can take what is known about, how we as adults learn, and try to maximize your content for all the different types, learning types. This is powerful stuff. It's done right. This is also a lot of work, so I'm not doing this on all of my websites, but I try to do a little bit at least. Do a little bit is always better than nothing at all, right? So I also think about it when I do the videos. I should probably in this video actually have started with a small story, right? That would have been great. Actually, it would have been even better if for the 3 different modules in this video, that I would have started each module with one video. But I'm trying to keep it short here. Or each module would have been started with a story, sorry. But I'm trying to keep it short here. So that was on Copes and learning styles. So let's see how a sample module could look like. You could start out with a workbook, so they can download that and take notes as they go along through the contents. Then you can present them with a video. You can also have a second video. Then you can present them with a small test on what they just learned in these 2 videos here. You can then follow up with some more videos, and you can present actually just the same test and see have they improved since their first test. And then you can end off with some exercises where jog their brains on what they have just learned. So in this sample module here, I'm using all the Cope learning styles as an example. So I think that was it on learning. No, we just have a little bit more actually, but that was all on Cope, and all on how structuring your content can improve your actually the content for your members. Next up, I will look on member segmentation, because what member segmentation is, that not all members are created equal. We just saw how some of your members will learn in a different way than others, but you will also have people who are either more experienced than others, and some are beginners in what you're teaching, some are more advanced in what you're teaching. It can also be that you just want to segment people on how they find your website. So let's see that you're creating one campaign within YouTube videos, and you basically want to present them with a little bit other types of content than just the people that normally just sign up through your website. So what we want to do here is we want to tailor the content for the individual, because the more you can tailor your content for the individual, the better it will hit them and the better they will learn. But the problem is you cannot record, one video per each member you get in. If you want to scale this to 1,000 members, you cannot, create all the content in your membership site for all your members, right? So, as I said, hard to do. But what we can do here is we can first off, as I said, create membership levels, and all membership plugins out there, I'm using Wishlist Member as I said, can do different membership levels. You can actually create membership levels based on an external factor. That can be, you can have different sign-up pages based on their experience level, or you can just have, different landing pages on how they find you, and you can create different membership levels on there. You can also, create one membership level that is dripping out the content, as I just told you, where you get a module each week, but another membership level where they're getting access to everything. I typically have that. So if people starting bitching about, oh, I want to, take it all in a dense time, it will probably hurt my retention. But if they're paying for 1 year in advance, I can just give them access to the whole content, right? So I just put them over to another membership level. But you can have them sign up to different membership levels based on external factors. Typically, you can also have them fill out a questionnaire and then determine the membership level from that, right? If you should segment them into beginner, medium, or advanced. And I'm even gone a step further. I'm actually using a personality test on my Lifestyle Business Mastermind site, because basically some of the strategies that I teach them, just as we learn differently, we also, perceive things differently. And personality tests try to uncover where our strengths and weaknesses are. So I have some videos in there that I know are extremely hard for some people to absorb. For instance, I'm teaching the 80-20 rule, right? In the 80-20 rule is about, don't try to do perfection, just, do the first 80% of something only takes 20% of the effort. So I like, when you're an entrepreneur, it's really good to be focusing on just launching stuff quickly and try not to pursue the perfection too much. But I know that some people are perfectionists. They don't resonate with that message on the 80-20 rule. So what I am doing instead is that I can tell them in the beginning of the video, if you are this personality profile, if you are this perfectionist profile, you will have a little bit of trouble with what I'm going to tell you right now. But in the end of the video, I will present you with an alternative strategy for how you can do the same thing that will suit you better. So that's what I'm doing. And remember, my personality test is not, a complicated one. I had one developed for WordPress, and I'm only, segmentation people into 4 different personality styles. So besides using Cope, you can also actually do this to better communicate with people, the members in your membership site. So that's what I'm doing in order to actually be able to present different people with different strategies depending on how they on what are their strengths and weaknesses are. So this is also some powerful stuff, and if you are doing some segmentation already, I would love to hear from you to hear what you're doing. Whew! That was a lot about how we learn and how to structure content. Now we move on to the last module. I'm ecstatic if you're still watching this, right? But now we're going to some exciting stuff, something that can influence your cash flow instantly, and that is business strategies. The first bad strategy we're going to look at is to avoid refunds, because basically I'm not getting much refunds, but it does happen. Also, if you have 30-day money-back guarantees, you basically want to hook them in there. And what you can do to avoid refunds are some of the followings. And again, if you have some strategies here that are listing, I would love to hear from you, because we can all try to lower or at least avoid refunds, right? Over-delivering is always a good thing. It's not really a strategy, it's just, kick some ass with your content. Build up that reciprocity, right? And what I mean by that is that if people are thinking they're getting something for free from you, it's the same thing we're using in sales and in lead magnets and so on. If they think they're getting something for free from you, then their psychology will actually try to return you that favor. And that favor they will return is that they probably want to stay in your program for a longer time, or don't cancel the program. make them feel valuable and wanted. I'm not that good at it, but I try to make it as personal as possible. But I actually heard of people sending each new member a postcard, and I'd actually considered doing that, because you can just go on Fiverr and just send a postcard. And if you've built them something, you have their address, and you can send out a postcard. There are also services that can send out postcards for you, so you need to check it out. I actually have an app on my my iPhone. You just snap a picture and put in an address, and someone will actually, somewhere out there, they will just send a card with that picture on for a couple of dollars, I think. So I'm considering doing that for my membership site, but I haven't done that yet. But it's an easy thing to do and make them feel valuable and wanted. If you have any strategies here, I would love to hear from you. Show them that you care and show them you're grateful. Make good use of your autoresponder. At least, autoresponders is not just for working leads. They're also for your existing members. And at least in the beginning, I would send them almost an email per day, letting them know that you care, asking them if they have any questions, showing them the rules and ropes, linking to your introductional video, and so on. So make good use of your autoresponder. Then later on, you can perhaps just send them an email each time a new module get available. But at least in the first week or two, try to mail them at least every other day to keep them hooked on your membership site and have them come back to your membership site. I'm still working on this, because I'm only sending a couple of emails in the first week, because I hate getting emails myself. So, but I need to focus on my members. So this is something I'm working on at the moment. Next up, retention. Once we get them in there, how do we keep on to them? And again, if you have any strategies that I'm not listing here, I would love to hear from you, because this is certainly something we can all benefit from. I've heard a saying, I'm not quite sure if I've heard it before, but people join for the content, but they stay for the community. So, make sure that you have some killer content, but also make sure you have some kind of community in there if you want them in for the long haul, right? Some of the best memberships out there, that's actually because they have the best communities out there when people stay for the longer period of time. So just a quick saying to get this jump started. I use dripping content, as I just said, by actually delivering my content over a longer period. So even though I have a 30-day full money-back guarantee, after the 30 days they won't have access to all the content. So this might tease them a bit on what they will get next. Also, it won't allow them to just get in there, and within the first 30 days watch everything and say, or after 2 days, oh, it's not working for me, but it was nice. I mean, if it's not fit for them, good and fine. I'll give them the money back, no problem. But I really wanted to have them give them a chance. And by using dripping content, you at least, hook them on the long term, right? You're not getting someone who's done it in there for 2 days and then out again, because basically they only have access to one module and the introductional videos. And a few of the bonuses actually also. I use surprise bonuses as well, stuff that I haven't mentioned in the sales video, simply because it will build up that reciprocity that I can never say. It's the hardest word in English, reciprocity, right? Oh. So, have extra bonuses in there, and remember to, you can use that in your autoresponder. Oh, fantastic to have you on board after day 2, right? I have this new awesome bonus for you. I didn't mention it in the sales video, but I know you're going to love it, right? And then some super exciting, fantastic bonus, an interview or whatever you have, right? Creative contests. I am not using this at the moment, but have them do something, compete against each other. That is also something. Each month you run a new competition, and perhaps if you have a lot of members, put an iPad at stake, right? iPad mini, say, if you have like a couple of hundred members in there, it should be doable to auction off an iPad mini each month and say, oh, the one who comes up with the best, what do you know, inside of this membership site, the best answer to this question, or solves this puzzle the best, whatever, or do the best business. I'm teaching, building lifestyle businesses. The one who can actually launch within the first 30 days will be in the competition for this iPad mini, right? So do contests. So each week, each month, sorry, if they just pay, let's say, $40 to be in your membership program, but each month they actually have a valid chance to win an iPad mini, right? I mean, some people might stay a few months more just for that. Award programs. Use all these different badges. Badges, for places like Foursquare and other, social media. I'm not using social media a lot, so I can't really talk about this, but a lot of social media are using these awards and badges that you can get. So you're not doing anything, you're not really getting any value from just anything, but you can, with Foursquare, you can get the mayor of your local coffee shop. So freaking what? It just goes to show that you like some attention. Sorry about that if you have any mayors among you, but you get these small badges, and you like these small badges, and there's always another badge you can get, right? So you can consider actually doing these small award programs. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just install a plugin and say, oh, if you commented 100 times in the forum, you get this platinum award, this platinum badge, or whatever, right? Or if you watched all the videos in the program, you get this super studier award, or what do I know, right? It all starts in the early years when we have to play scouts. So this is something that won't cost you anything, but will actually, and some people, they will just go nuts over getting these badges and awards. And of course, if you don't doing it already, you can use monthly webinars. I've been doing that at least for one of my sites. So that was a bit about retention. If you have any strategies, let me know. I would love to hear from you. Ambassadors. Oh yeah. I mean, you can find your most active members and reach out to them. You can either make them, moderators in the forum, but you can also just reach out to them, because chances are that they will actually buy more products from you and higher priced products. So I would reach out to, the most active people, both in the forum, but also on your website, the one who keeps coming back and watching the content over and over again. So you can use, as I just mentioned, upselling your more expensive products if you have any, right? Or you can create some and then sell them. Find coaching clients in that segment there. So how do you do that? For instance, I'm using something called Simple History for WordPress, and what it does is tracks all user activity. So besides it's tracking, stuff like administrators when you're installing a plugin or whatever, it also tracks when they watch a page on your website, and it actually integrates with bbPress, so it's also tracks whenever someone posts in the forum and so on. So this is something that you can use to find your most active members and perhaps do some bit of upselling. Then let's focus on customer lifetime value, because members are not just getting them in. It's also trying to focus on how can we maximize the money that we make on each member. And first, you need to know the average lifetime value of your members. Typically, in a membership site, that's around 3 to 4 months. But if you have a really good community, people can stay on there for years. But you need to know what's the average lifetime value for your members. How long are they staying a member? First thing you can do is you can offer lifetime access. So of course you will price that a little lower than the average lifetime value, or around that. Typically, if I have a $67 a month program, I can offer up a lifetime access for $500 or whatever, or $400, or even $300. So that also maximizes the profit up front if you can actually get them to pay that up front. You can also do a little bit of split testing on pricing. Now, I haven't done that, and in Denmark it's actually legal to do this. You cannot offer one price to some customers and another price to some other customers. But if you're not telling anybody, I'm not telling anybody, and I probably will begin to do that sometime soon. And what I'm meaning with split testing pricing is that we want to see how this changes our conversion. Oh, I have another thing coming up here on the split testing pricing. So just hold that thought on split testing pricing. But you can also make them an offer when they're canceling. For instance, you can say when they cancel their subscription, you can reply to them and say, oh, you can get this lifetime access for just $200. Normally it's $500, but you've already been paying for 4 months or whatever. So I want to offer you a lifetime membership site for just the $200 instead of the $500. So the split testing pricing, back to that one again. This is what I want to show you. Because if we have the price going up and we have the quantity of sales going out below, then we need to find a sweet spot here, because it's a bit better to have 60 people paying you $10 than it is having 100 people paying you $5, right? So that is in one scenario you make $600, and the other sorry. In one scenario you're making $600, in the other scenario you're making $500, right? So this is what I'm saying when I'm saying split test your pricing. It's about finding the right pricing strategy for your membership site. That was a bit about customer lifetime value, and that is basically it. And now it's time for questions, and you can hook me up on Twitter. You can just go to Rasmus L on Twitter, or you can visit my website retireMyAss.com and contact me, or shoot me an email, or what have you. And depending on where you're watching this video, you can also shoot me a question below the video. If you found this directly on YouTube, I'm not quite sure. I'm not that active in there, but I will try to answer your questions. So that was it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this and got some tips and strategies on what you can do to go a step further with your new membership site. So thank you for watching through, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.